They got me in here on a Thursday morning, 8:48, February 12th, the year of our Lord. First of all, before we get started, happy birthday to my sister. I just thought about it. I got to call her before we get off, once I get off of this podcast. Producer Pat, Carl Prather. I've lived here for the last 72 hours. I've just lived here. Left here 1 a.m., went to bed at 3 a.m., woke up at 7 a.m., dropped said baby off at school at 7:55 a.m., McDonald's, freebie. Hot honey sausage, egg, and biscuit, slapping. Hash brown, where my water at? Water's under here. I got here before he got here. I'm perpetually late. I'm going to be late to my own funeral. When they put me in the pine box, I'll be late for that. But I was here early this morning. All because we got a podcast that we're recorded and going to release on the same morning, courtesy of producer Pat, for our Take After Take podcast. And then after I do this, OCP about to get him a good old deep tissue massage. I said, not massage, massage. That's what I'm getting today. I'm even here on a day that I ain't supposed to be in here. Why the hell am I in here on a day that I ain't supposed to be here?
Well, it's because we couldn't do this yesterday.
Oh, we couldn't do it. Been a very busy week in the land of sports. We've had legal battles between high schools and counties and board of education. If you have been following this in North Alabama, for those that are watching from afar, you all 2.5 of you had a high school, had a legal battle regarding postseason play. So it took up a lot of time. Amazing Black History Month piece that I completed yesterday morning, a condensed version. We'll have that in its entirety on our 48 Sports Zone app, a longer version of that next week, which is super cool. So it's been a hell of a week for OCP, but it's done now. Then tonight, taking the baby, taking the lady folk, going to see the mouse.
Oh, you going down south?
Going to see the mouse. Got to go see the mouse.
Disney?
Got to go see the old mouse this weekend. Thoughts and prayers already.
Is that an annual thing you guys do, or?
Traditionally, we try to do it every other year. My kid's birthday is the 18th, falls into President's Day weekend. Traditionally, they're out of school. We try to knock that out and try to do a quick trip there and back. But yeah, we're gonna go see the mouse. I want to say that before we get into any kind of sports, I've been blessed to go to Disney World a number of times when I was a kid. My wife had never been to Disney until we took our kid. I was like, what? And the reason why I say that is she was born in Germany. Army brat. Don't they got Euro Disney over there?
I don't know if it's in Germany.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You should have went. I thought she could have went somewhere over there. But nobody, you hadn't been to Disney.
I hadn't been to Disney.
You never been to Disney World?
No.
Yet.
Yeah. Some folks poor out here, Carl.
No.
It's hard out there for folks.
When I went to Disney the first time, all the parents and adults of the world, they'll remember this because I'm 75. When I went to Disney, it was the Magic Kingdom, Epcot golf ball. That was it. That's all you got over at Walt Disney World. Guess what the main attraction was? Let me tell you what. If you guess this, you can shave the little piece of hair that I have on my head on this podcast. You'll never get this. But this was a big deal.
The main ride?
Space
Mountain?
No Space Mountain.
Flair?
That Flair. I was going to say. Flair made that synonymous with him.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson and Captain EO.
Who is Captain EO?
I don't know. It was some sort of fictitious cartoon. It was crazy. But the big attraction at the time was It's a Small World. And so you went around to different countries and stuff and rode in the... I think the teacups were there back when I went in the mid 80s. I think I went there in 87, 88. But long story short, it's been a hell of a week. I know it's been a hell of a week for you because I hadn't even seen you. What you been doing?
Everything.
Not the world. You look, you woke up this morning, you dropped the babies off, your hair's put together.
Yeah. So,
why were you hating on me? Why were you hating on me yesterday that I'm getting a massage, not a massage, a massage?
It's just a random Thursday. That's all.
I am off work today, allegedly.
Yeah.
I am supposed to be off work.
Yeah. Well, your name's on the podcast. Yeah. You got to be here.
That I was about to cuss. That's that print awfully small out here, but I guess it's on there.
It's on there. No, it's been a fine week. I'm sad there's no more football. Be quite honest with you.
For the 5th week, I've said that I had those confetti things. I looked at Patrick this morning and I said, if I pop these this morning, I'm just walking out of here. Don't think that would probably be advantageous to me being able to not have to come back here and clean that up. So I have to do it when I'm here, have an afternoon that I have to clean it all up because it's going to be all over the place. I have 2 of them. Would you like to pop one?
Yeah, I'll do it, yeah.
So I'll pop one, he'll pop one. We'll do it probably next week. Probably next week. We got a busy week next week.
Yeah.
High school basketball is going on, regionals and stuff. But Patrick, very, very on point with the Super Bowl. You said this wasn't going to be close. I thought the Patriots would win for all of the reasons that they didn't win. Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, dominant victory there over the New England Patriots. We'll get into the game. Of course, we'll get into the pop culture aspect of it all with the commercials, the halftime performance. But your thoughts on just the game overall? For me, you just would have hoped that the Patriots, as you mentioned, would have had some sort of pulse there. It was almost like the game was hanging in the balance for 3 quarters with 9 points scored. But when you have a defense like that, you don't have to do much, right?
Yeah, and I think the score ended up making it look closer than it really was. This could have easily been 21-0, 28-0 pretty quickly. I mean, Sam Darnold kind of misses he kind of gives out of the pocket, misses Njigba, who would have just walked into the end zone. The game kind of went how I thought, which is the fact that the Patriots had literally no answer for anything the Seahawks were doing defensively. Will Campbell, if he's still hurt, but gave up 14 individual pressures in that game, which was the most of any game this season. Obviously, on the grandest stage of them all, not a time that you want to have a game like that. His teammate right beside him, forget his name, the guard, he also did not have a good game. I mean, there were moments of time where Drake May would get the football and take 2 steps, and his own lineman would be in his face, getting pushed right back to him. They just had freakazoids on that Seattle defense, and offensively, they did enough. Sam Darnold did enough. Kenneth Walker did enough, and they are the Super Bowl champions.
How about Kenneth Walker? We mentioned that during our last podcast. My personal opinion, I think this is an opinion of many. I don't think they're here without 9 at running back. Just because he never put Sam Darnold and that offense in a situation where it wasn't manageable enough for them to continue to move the chains, right?
And he was the only offense for the first
that was it.
2.5, 3 quarters.
It's almost like a graceful, violent runner that Kenneth Darby is. Kenneth Darby. Shout out to Alabama. That's an old last pass. Kenneth Walker. I never understood, especially after his rookie year, kind of leveled off a little bit, really picked it up this year, contract year. He's a free agent. Interested to see if the Seahawks will indeed sign him back with Charbonnet still in the fold after being injured at the end of the regular season. But, yeah, I don't believe that Seattle is anywhere near the playoffs. As good as that defense is as elite as that defense is, as elite of a coach as Mike McDonald is. The offensive line is great, and we know what that defense does. But, man, Kenneth Walker just supplied Seattle with a steadiness that I just don't think that they get to the Super Bowl if they don't have that. So it's a credit to him, Super Bowl MVP. I have been a huge proponent of Sam Darnold. I'm a 49er fan. He played with the 49ers 2 seasons ago. 2018 third pick overall. I never thought that I would ever see the day that Sam Darnold would be a Super Bowl champion, but they, in part with Kenneth Walker, Patrick, get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl because of his steadiness. Now, albeit there was a couple of hairy situations in that Super Bowl.
It was a couple, but they don't win if Sam Darnold doesn't play the way he played in the NFC Championship game.
I agree.
Ended up looking like it was the de facto Super Bowl because I think the Rams would have demolished the Patriots as well.
So we discussed this when I saw you earlier this week, the Monday after the Super Bowl, obviously, and I said to you that there were a handful of conference championship games when I was growing up, especially in the NFC, where you'd have the 49ers and the Cowboys for a number of years. Or you had the Cowboys against insert team here, and that was almost what we like to call the de facto Super Bowl because you knew that the winner of that more than likely was going to win it all. The Broncos, when they went on their back-to-back run, you had an idea that once they went on their back-to-back run, there was kind of, I don't know if Shannon Sharp and the John Elways of the world maybe say Cinderella-esque just because of the Packers coming off of a world title the year before. They win it the first year, but the second year, the AFC Championship game probably was their year that was the Super Bowl because they just absolutely demolished the Falcons, who in turn, that year, 98, upset the team that everyone thought was going to go to the Super Bowl with the Minnesota Vikings, 15-1. Morton Anderson misses a kick, first kick of the year. That's Randy Moss's rookie year. It's Chris Carter. It's Jake Reed. It's Robert Smith. It's Warren Moon. It was just a fantastic year. So there are certain years where you look at the NFC Championship, AFC Championship, and be like, yeah, probably this is the team that wins this is going to win the Super Bowl. So listen, much has been made about the New England Patriots and their schedule. You mentioned it ad nauseum last week during our podcast. No lies told. We understand that the schedule was not advantageous to anyone thinking that they had or maybe become a favorite in this year's Super Bowl. With all of that said, for me, the strides that one Mike Vrabel made along with this team, I've just mentioned it consistently, a bunch of no-name guys on defense that you hadn't heard about that are young, very reliable, made a lot of plays. Obviously, to me, the trajectory is up. I don't see how anyone relative to the schedule being as quote-unquote easy as the rest of the league, 30 out of 32 teams, I still don't see how they're not a factor and a player in not only the regular season next year, but the next couple of years with a second-year starter quarterback, weapons that will be brought into New England here in the coming years with trades and drafting and salary cap issues or lack thereof to be able to bring new talent in there as well. So I just think the sky's the limit. Am I missing anything, believing that the Patriots are not going to be in the fold for the next 5 years?
No, I don't even think Patriot fans are that upset they lost the game.
Correct.
I think they were just kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. We're here again. I do feel like, though, the NFL as a whole, and this is not always the case, but for the second season in a row, I think we got the best team during the regular season ended up winning the Super Bowl.
I agree with that.
Eagles were the best team all of last year, wire to wire.
Yep.
I think the Seahawks, after the first two games of the season, they were the best team. Doesn't always happen. You know, famously 2007, the Giants upset the undefeated New England Patriots. Football's kind of weird like that. Mm-hmm. But we've had 2 years in a row now where I think the de facto objectively best team in the league has won the Super Bowl. So that was kind of cool to see. Now, the game outside of that, absolute snooze fest. It was awful.
Yeah.
I fell asleep.
You did fall asleep. You told me that. Which I kind of looked up and I was like, but look, newsflash, y'all. I get it. Many moons ago, we were in our 20s. We didn't got to that start of, we opened the book and it says chapter 2. You start getting into them late 30s and 40s. People be tired, man. We got kids.
I'm tired.
People got.
I was also about 5 Modelo's deep.
That's what I'm talking about.
And on her bad.
Oh, Modelo's. I unfortunately, I was from the standpoint of it's really cool to be able to be in a profession where you can actually discuss the Super Bowl for a living. However, OCP likes to have a Super Bowl party.
Yeah.
No Super Bowl party this year. People had their candles and their lighters in there in memoriam because we didn't have a Super Bowl party. But I was here. No Modelo's. No adult beverages. Ooh, but if I wasn't here, Katie barred the door. But halftime performance. Your thoughts about Bad Bunny? I thought it was fantastic. He was just amazing. You truly understand why he is recognized as one of the top entertainers in the world. It was fantastic. Of course, we know all of the things surrounding that, leading into that. Not getting into that. We just want to get into the music and how good it was and how amazing it was. It was fantastic. Here's something that wasn't fantastic. And I think because we're at a certain age, we say this, nobody really cares younger than us. What are we going to do about these commercials during the Super Bowl? No, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, because I think
down bad.
I think are we 3, 4, 5 years? We're on a run of. Like,
I think we're on 5.
Yeah,
I think we're on 5.
We talked about the Instacart commercial with Benson Boone and Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
And then there was the Bud Light commercial, Peyton Manning, Post Malone, Shane Gillis, the keg down the hill. There was did you see the Manscaped commercial?
I didn't see the Manscaped.
I think it was the first commercial break. Go back and watch that. Pretty funny. Outside of that, all stinkers.
Some commercials had really impactful messages trying to be conveyed to the audience while you're watching the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Including one, I didn't know where they were going. I thought it was cool with the quote-unquote tight ends. And then it was about getting your prostate exams. So then we saw like 6 NFL Pro Bowlers and normal Joe walking on the street. We saw their booty meat get scrunched up, then get released.
Yep.
I wasn't expecting to see booty meat get scrunched up and get released like that on camera. But here we are. It is 2026. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know where this thing was going because it had all the NFL players, had the tight ends, their jerseys. It was like, okay, Chris McCaffrey was there, I think, and it was Kittle and all. And then it went into, prostate, which is very, very important when you get to a certain age. You got to watch out for those things. I'm all about maintaining said self, continue to enhance yourself, maintaining. That's why I'm getting an old massage today. But I wasn't expecting that. I just didn't think I was going to see booty meat just get scrunched up, released. Did you expect that? I didn't expect that.
I did not expect that. And also, corporations now they've taken the wrong message from what people liked about Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah.
And it was the commercials felt different during the Super Bowl than they did in normal advertising, right? The concepts were a little bit more higher brow. The jokes were funnier or a little bit more risque, maybe, that you wouldn't see. Now it's just like, I thought one of the worst commercials I saw was there was a Grubhub commercial, and it was all these people around a table, and in the last 5 seconds, George Clooney just pops up.
And it's
exactly that was not the point. The point of the Super Bowl commercials was, if you'll remember, the Hump Day Geico commercials.
Fantastic.
Super Bowl commercial.
Fantastic.
Do you go back? I think a few years ago. The kid dressed up like Darth Vader, thinks he has the Force, and the Volkswagen.
Very good commercial.
Okay, no celebrities in that one. Then you go to the old Budweiser, the what's up, those kind of things. The Doritos commercials, which were always fantastic. That's what people liked. Now we are just in. Here's 30 seconds of Sabrina Carpenter. Here's George Clooney. Here's Matthew McConaughey. Now, the celebrity things can work. I think one of the best commercials that's on TV right now are the Verbo commercials with Nick Saban.
Very good.
But again, the concept is hilarious.
Yes.
Now, coupled with the commercials, the Super Bowl feels incredibly corporatized in a way that maybe it always was, but now just in our modern culture, it's even more evident that it's so. Then now I'm starting to feel if the game is bad, then the whole thing just gets ruined. It's like Sunday was a little bit overrated.
It was. Put it this way. I'm a lover of said football. Love it to the highest extent. This was probably the first year in quite some time where I didn't, quote unquote, deep dive matchup, keys to victory. It's nothing that, no disrespect to the Seahawks and the Patriots. I always measure the significance of a Super Bowl by the casual fan. That tells you a lot about what the game is for the casual fan. The NFL or any North American sport or world sport for that matter, they don't care about the diehards.
Yeah.
They know we're going to come regardless. They know we're going to watch the game regardless on Sundays or during the NBA or any major sporting event. We're going to watch it. It's those casual fans that love football but don't deep dive it like we do on a weekly basis, that love to hear the names and teams that have are synonymous with excellence or household brand names. We mentioned it last week when we were discussing the Titans and the Rams. I remember when I was in high school, I remember after the NFC and AFC championship games that Monday reading our city paper, and the front of it had those two logos, and I just vividly remember this is going to be the worst Super Bowl ever. And that's just solely because high school brain was looking at those two teams like, they've never been here. They've been perpetually awful in the history of their football for the most part. Have a quote-unquote Cinderella year in the year, and it turned out to be one of the greatest Super Bowls ever. So I think it's safe to say we've had two stinkers the last 2 years. But going into last year, the star power alone, you knew Philadelphia was going to carry their fan base. It's a national brand. We know the Kansas City Chiefs at this point, outside of Kansas City, kind of, in my opinion, a regionalized fan base that's very, very strong, passionate, but have kind of become more national and global with the Patrick Mahomes and the Kelce's and him and his fiance and the whole nine there, their coach. Became part of American
Going for
culture.
a three-peat.
Going for the three-peat.
Never happened before.
Just star power. I mean, the world was watching there. But you're right. There was a day, those that are listening or will watch this later today, where I'm not going to put this on even playing field with the game. But there was a moment in time for 20 plus years or whatever it may be from the 90s through the 2000s where the run out of that game, the national anthem, the first quarter, the kickoff were as important as the first commercial break. Because whoever had that commercial time slot, for the most part in the 90s and 2000s, you knew there was going to be a really funny commercial. It was going to be a good 2.5 minutes of elite commercials. And that's what drew everyone in, the casual fan, those that didn't care anything about football, at football parties, Super Bowl parties, or just watching it because it's Super Bowl Sunday. That's what brought them in. There was not one commercial sitting here at the TV station on Sunday working that I vividly remember. It was like, oh yeah, that, like, besides like, I don't know what.
There also wasn't a ton of commercials for things that you could the normal person would actively go out and buy.
Correct.
Like, it was AI,
Yep.
Claude. It was sports gambling. It was crypto. Okay.
We can't do none of that, y'all. We ain't got it. Look.
And again,
we can't bet on anything up in here.
There is, if you want to expand it out, that's probably a pretty damning indictment about the American economy. If those are the only things that we're propping up, there were no. Pringles had one, but like I didn't see it. Did you see a Doritos commercial?
I didn't see a Doritos commercial. Listen, I would even love to get back, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just throwing these brands out. They're getting all these freebies today. Progressive Insurance. I didn't see anything for Geico Insurance.
Yeah.
I saw some of the beer brands you mentioned with Bud Light, but man, I remember as a kid, I used to love the Bud Bowl because they used to do the four quarters like in different parts of the game game with the helmets over the beer bottles. Spud McKenzie, and I remember like you said, the Bud Light, the What's Up, the Bullfrogs, the iconic Pepsi commercials where the celebrities were zipped up and zipped down as alien like.
The Clydesdale, that's why it became iconic. Because of those Super Bowls.
Because of those Super Bowls, the Clydesdale. So we just rattled, think about all the ones we just rattled off on the top of our head that you vividly remember from yesteryear that we don't have. You know how this works. The NFL, personally, I believe Roger Goodell and Pete Rozelle and, Paul Tagliabue, the previous commissioner, I think that their goal, while they expanded said league, all while enhancing the brand of this league, making it the most popular sport in North America, one of the 2-3 most popular sports in the world, is to have a competitive product where we have complete and utter parity. I think they've accomplished that because I think this is just the 8th year we've had a different Super Bowl champion or something like that. Outside of the Chiefs.
Outside of the Chiefs.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think they've accomplished that. But traditionally, things tend to correct themselves. I would be shocked. Hot take. We've been on a 0-for run the last 5 years pre-COVID. I have a sneaky suspicion that this will overcorrect itself. I think you'll start to see in the next Super Bowl and beyond, especially with it being on ESPN, and simulcast on ABC, I think you'll start to see it get back to some of the better commercials. I could be wrong, 100%.
Oh yeah,
but brother,
I think you're wrong.
You think it's over with? You think they care nothing about those commercials anymore?
Yeah, no.
It's everything surrounding.
Well, I don't think. Well, they're not going to turn down money.
No,
So for the NFL, like as long as they can continue to get a high fee for those spots, that's what they're going to do. But if you're a corporation, like I don't like why you could just pay Sabrina Carpenter or George Clooney or McConaughey. Like I don't see the sort of plucky, and it's kind of weird to say you're talking about multi-million-dollar things, but like the plucky kind of underdog Doritos type of commercial that breaks through the mold because it doesn't have a celebrity, but it has a concept or it has a joke. All the commercials now, they move, and maybe it's like the TikTokification of things. They move too fast. They have too many jokes. You get to the end and you're like, I don't even know, what was that? Like,
who's going to be the smart celebrity and or brand that goes into complete satire relative to the TikTokification of where we're at now?
I don't know, but I think you will see a brand in the next couple Super Bowls that will be like, we spent $7 on this commercial, and here
it'll
it is.
Go crazy.
And it'll just be like the worst thing you've ever seen, and because it looks so different than everything else, it'll break through. That's usually how a lot of things work, right? You know, Bob Dylan said, when they play them fast, I play them slow. When they play them slow, I play them fast.
Not a Bob Dylan reference on this Thursday morning.
Well, I got,
Okay,
I got a little knowledge.
You're a big music aficionado. I was in here listening to, I ain't gonna say, family. It's I call it morning hour, peak morning hours. I ain't gonna do that.
I don't know. Snoop Dogg's on the Olympics now, so everything's
Snoop Dogg,
everything's pretty mainstream.
If you want to talk about a career arc.
Would you ever thought
Snoop D-O-double-G? When I was a kid, listening to a record that I can't say the name of right now, we'll get there eventually, though. I promise. We're going to start pushing the envelope and get there eventually. I think we'll be able to do that.
It works for McAfee.
We'll get there. We're going to give it time. give it time. We just got to roll the boulder just slowly up the hill. Had an amazing album with a name on said album that was, he had another album. I say all that to say you're right. I just think it's super cool, just his career arc. I mean, he is legitimately synonymous. You don't know it if you don't know anything else about the winter or the summer games. He's just synonymous with that because of what he does. And it started back a couple of summers ago when he's doing the voiceovers for athletes and animals and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With the equestrian horses, it's really must see TV. It's very funny, but no, you're right. Man, that guy has been all over the place. I mean, done a fantastic job with the Winter Games thus far, the Winter Olympics in Italy, for sure. Let me go back to the game really quick because I did want to shout this guy out, two guys out for the Patriots, and they really been kind of their focal points and mainstays on defense. Shout out to Williams on the defensive line. I'm not saying the game changes or anything relative to the plays that he could have made, but man, he was so close from a lot of disruptive plays at the defensive tackle position there. Shout out to him. And man, listen, I said this, and these are just kind of deep dives for us that watch football and you at home and listening that watch football. Man, number 0 on the back end for New England, Christian Gonzalez. Listen, if he's not one of the 5 best defensive backfield players in the game, I don't know who is. He was magnificent.
I mean, he saved 14 points.
He legitimately saved. So. Think about how the game went, and if he doesn't make said plays, what the score ultimately looks like, all because of his play on the football field. He was fantastic, man. I truly.
And like a lot of people are, poo-pooing on Drake May, but that was a total team loss. That wasn't anything on him. He will get better. Yes, he had a rough postseason. But again, if the offensive line, if Will Campbell was hurt, which let's hope that's the case, because that was not a good showing from a very high pick that the Patriots have a lot of stock into. But I think he'll bounce back.
Mike Vrabel said that he is indeed sticking with him at tackle.
Yeah.
Heading into the next year, we shall see. You mentioned the aforementioned injury that he had at the beginning of the year, came back from that off of IR to try to help and solidify that offensive line, that unit there. So we shall see. I'm not going to be out on the young man, but man, you mentioned it. We discussed it because I told you during the game and the playoffs, like, man, this guy, he had a rough go. But
and every team, all the good teams in the NFL now have a good to elite pass rusher.
Correct.
So the Patriots, obviously because they came in first place in the division, they will play a first-place schedule next year.
Correct.
Which means they play other first-place teams. That's how that kind of works. The schedule will be tougher. We'll see what happens with the Patriots. But I think if he gives up, If the first 6 games of the season look a little rough for him, I don't know.
You mentioned Drake May and a second-year starter where almost last year was almost kind of a mulligan in the standpoint of just learning on the job.
Yeah.
I think the kid's got it. I think he's very talented. And you mentioned it. In what world are we, is someone, because he did not play well, going to say, oh, the book's out on Drake May, a second-year player that's been a starter for 24 months, when we just had a guy in year 8 win the Super Bowl? They can't be the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, let's everyone pump the brakes. You, your mom, your dad, your kinfolk, nobody in their right mind thought the Patriots were going to remotely even win as many games they were going to win this year. More importantly, make a run in the playoffs or play in the Super Bowl this year. No, you're lying if you thought you did outside of you just saying, hey, my team's going to the Super Bowl, and that was it. So overachieve is an understatement for Vrabel and his staff, Josh McDaniels. And let's be real, even in the game, Patrick, it wasn't that the offensive plan was not good. It just seemed like, listen, I heard Marcus Spears say this on NFL Live on ESPN, and he's exactly right the day after the game. We've heard this before. There's levels to this. You have a team that has a veteran-laden amount of guys that have played a lot of football in this league relative to a group that kind of entered in a whole brave new world and trying to learn this thing on the job. And you realize to reach the epitome of the mountaintop within the National Football League, there's a lot of things that need to be corrected and changed, and your play have to be better. And I think for me, early in that contest, it became very apparent that the game was a little too big for the Patriots. Offensive line with their rookies there. But you remember when Mac Hollins caught the big D ball, then turned around and caught a big D one. I said this to you. I truly believe if I could just dive into the braid of Drake May from probably the mid of the third quarter on, he probably didn't remember the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes you kind of, sometimes when we've been, no matter who you are in life, you've probably been in certain instances when it's uncharted waters professionally, whether it's in school, seriously, grade school, junior high, high school, where it just seems like you're just swimming upstream. You almost kind of blank out because you just have, you don't have a sense of focus and stuff because it's so overwhelming. And you could tell when he threw that D ball to Mac Hollins, that was an effing ball. I'm going to throw it, just give him a chance. Then he connected with it, that first one. He's like, F it, I'm doing it again. Shout out to Mac Hollins for catching it. But you could tell he tried to kind of rein himself in because there were some rocket balls there that really should have moved the chains and kept the drives alive.
Yeah. Now, to play devil's advocate about the Patriots, I think if you had a time machine and you were transported back to Dan Marino's second season and he loses that Super Bowl, you would have come on a podcast just like this and said, hey, the sky's the limit for he's going to be back, and then he never was. It's why when it's very hard to get to the Super Bowl. I think modern fans, especially modern NFL fans, are kind of spoiled because we've seen the Patriots do this, we've seen the Chiefs do this, but go look back. The reason we remember the steel curtain defenses and some of those the 90s Cowboys is because it is so rare what these teams did. So, yeah, I'm going to bank on Drake May. I'm going to bank on Mike Vrabel's talent being able to pull this together and be in the mix, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be in the Super Bowl or competing for him.
Here's the one thing I will say about Marino. Yes, he got there early in his career, but I think you're right. You look at the reason why people had the confidence that he was somehow, some way going to be back in a 16-plus year career was solely because he was so immensely talented. When I look at Drake May, I think Drake May is very talented. He's nowhere near the stratosphere of just the eyeball test, in my opinion, of just watching a Marino or seeing Mahomes or seeing a Brady as we kind of got into him just winning that first Super Bowl or reaching that first Super Bowl and playing well in that Super Bowl for the most part. I'm just saying that I would be utterly shocked if Drake May and company are not back in that game for this reason only. I just think that Robert Kraft and the Patriots front office all combined with Mike Vrabel, I would be shocked if they sit on their hands during free agency. Obviously, the draft is one in itself because you get to draft players every year. You know that's a constant, a guarantee.
Yeah.
I just find it hard to believe that they're not going to be gigantic supermarket sweep shopping cart to go through and be able to try to go get players and make some trades and try to get some things to help Drake.
And I mean, there's a receiver in Philly that hates his life right now.
Golden Goose
was coached by Mike Vrabel.
Love that. Hey, look, I love to have him more in Santa Clara, but if you love familiarity and the way that, as you know, as a Tennessee Titan fans, AJ has an affinity for that man and back, rightfully so. We don't know what the situation is going to be with Stephon Diggs as we head into the offseason there. Will he have to serve any sort of suspension there? But they don't have a dynamic guy there. Keyshawn Butte is good.
Yeah,
solid
and that's
player.
not the Stephon Diggs from,
That's not
28.
Now, I think he'll be better next year. But, age is undefeated. Father Time is undefeated. And you're coming off of an ACL. I told you I think he was rounding into shape at the end of the year. So I think his best ballers ahead of him at his age and where he's at in his career. But you mentioned it. That's how you change life. You go get 11.
And that's the other part for the Patriots is that you look around, you say, well, the reason this team's going to be back is because this team is, 70 to 80% of what it could be.
That's right.
And they have the two most important pieces locked down in the quarterback and the coach. So now everything else is just gravy.
Really would like for them, just from the outside looking in, any Patriots fans listening or NFL fans, I really would like for them to maybe enhance the running game as well. I think we mentioned about what Vrabel thinks about Henderson. I think that he would like him to kind of get his nose a little dirty.
Yeah.
He
I don't know why you don't play that guy more, considering you don't have explosive. Again, I'm not
utterly
coach,
shocked that he didn't that you didn't try to get that young man out into space. Relative to the lack of weapons that you do have, he is the one. He is their one a dynamic player that they have on the team that you can kind of really do some things for. Proof's in the pudding. Didn't he have like 4 or 5 75+ yard scores?
Yeah, and it's like that part. If it's like that cliche in the movie where like the father tries to like mold the son into be something like him, and then the realization at the end of the movie is my son is just who he's going to be, and I should just accept that. Vrabel just accept it.
You watch Varsity Blues?
Yeah.
Hey, shout out! Hey, R.I.P. Thoughts and prayers to James Vanderbeek and his family. Sally unfortunately passed away after a courageous battle with a health issue there. But yeah, that's the truth.
That's the story.
Y'all need to go watch. That's the story right here. Varsity Blues.
So yes, Vrabel, Travion might. He's going to run out of bounds, but he's also going to break one for 60, and you're just going to have to live with it.
You got to live with it. Odds for the Super Bowl, for teams to reach the Super Bowl release, I think FanDuel had them. Everyone has them. It's kind of like you're way too early, top 25 immediately after the College Football National Championship. I believe off the top of my head, Rams, Seahawks, still the top two.
Yeah.
Tennessee Titans, 100 to 1? Cardinals, Dolphins, 200 to 1. 49ers were like plus 750 or something like that. I'm going to look at my phone. But no, I don't think the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers, it is safe to say, I have said it for the last handful of years, and it's just because my favorite team is in there, but the NFC West is ridiculous. Those three teams are going to the playoffs again, and everyone has a unique story. Seattle's the champs. 49ers fans believe that a full healthy roster, we're their Niner gang better than them. Rams say, hold on, we the ones that got the most recent Super Bowl. What have y'all done, San Francisco? It makes for some very interesting, dynamic, must-see TV matchups when you have, and they're all in the division, which makes it really, really cool. Your thoughts overall as a whole for the National Football League, the season that was 2025, any positive for you? It's football, so it's always going to be positive.
Yeah,
but thought it was a good year?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know. I mean, we had a ton of close games. We had a ton of moments. The only little, if you're Goodell, the only nitpick you might have is like you wish you had a little bit more star power in the Super Bowl. Like we talked about coming into the playoffs, I think their ideal matchup would have been Bears-Bills.
Yeah.
And I think the numbers would have went
nuts.
Yeah, but you talk about narratives. I mean, Josh Allen, can this be the time he gets it? Caleb Williams leading the Bears. They hadn't been in the Super Bowl in 40 years. Like, that would have been type of thing. But now coming in next season, you do have the Chicago Bears on the rise. You have all the teams in the NFC West. You have a couple of young players. How are they going to mature. We are kind of looking for the next batch. Who is the next Josh Allen, the next Lamar Jackson? You still have what are the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes going to do? So there are a ton of storylines. I think you're going to also see some free agency. You have teams like Dolphins, the Raiders. You got Mendoza coming to the league, but like, are the Dolphins going to keep Tua? Are the Cardinals going to keep Kyler Murray? Like, you have things like that. What are the Vikings going to do? Is Justin Jefferson going to lead a mutiny and demand a trade if they don't get a quarterback? So you have a ton of stuff, and the NFL's in a fantastic place. It's in a way better place than I would say any other league in America by kind of a long shot.
It's as good from a stability and health standpoint that I've ever seen in the NFL. I'm 43, that I've ever seen. And
think about if you're the NBA.
Yeah.
The NBA, the main gripe that fans have against that is that like their players don't play.
Yeah.
You're not at that level in the NFL. No one complains about Sunday. Everyone's playing hard.
Yeah.
We're about to watch an All-Star game this weekend, and
are you going to watch All-Star?
Well,
we gotta watch it.
And that's the thing. Are you even going to watch it?
It was putrid last year. It was just, what are we doing? But
not a good look.
We have the NBA with NBC and WAFF. I think it could be better with NBA. Was it USA versus the world? Is that what the thing is?
Yeah, so we'll see if they play a little harder.
Yeah. Especially if they get embarrassed, which I think they probably are going to. Could potentially be.
Now, Bill Simmons and Nick Wright had a pretty good solution. I don't know if you saw that clip that went viral. So Bill was asking Nick Wright, how do you fix the All-Star game? And Nick's like, well, it's not going to be politically correct, but like if Con Knipple keeps his rise up, in 2 to 3 years, you just do white guys versus black guys.
No, all my Caucasian brothers and sisters gets all my old dark melody brothers and sisters.
You take the Eastern Europeans, he's like, they'll play hard.
They'll
play hard.
Yeah, it is. You are right. That is a whole lot of avenues you can go with that. Shout out to Con Knipple.
It'd be fun though, right?
Yes, I've told you this. We can dance around white guys versus black guys. We can dance around the NBA, North American players versus the world. I'll tell you the easiest solution. I'll tell Nick, I'll tell Bill the same thing. People get this preconceived notion that because said person has $100 million, that they don't want $5 million more to play for 40 minutes. Start putting some money on the line for these All-Star games. Significant amounts of money.
I don't think that fixes it either.
I think it does. I do.
Don't.
Oh yeah, I do.
I don't.
Yes, sir. Start putting some serious dollars on this thing. I do. I personally, I've said this, and I agree. I think it is very difficult for an NBA fan like myself, and you love the NBA, to say the product that we displayed during the All-Star game, it leaves a lot to be desired.
It kind of, I will be this critical. It spits in the face of like all the people that came before him, really. And the NBA,
that's the one thing I will go, because we don't want to be the shouter of shouting at the clouds there, get off my line guy. But that's the one thing, because you can play hard but have fun too.
And they do it during the summer. So
hard. You
can go back and watch clips of the Larry Birds, the Magic Johnsons of the world, MJs, the Kobes. They played that game hard. Like, there was the tradition, Kevin Garnett's talked about this, the tradition of slapping the fort, like, let's go, it's me and you.
That was the best, man.
And I think if you want to lay blame at the feet of one person for the All-Star weekend.
Don't do it.
It has to be LeBron James, right?
Why you going to do that, dog?
Because he's never done a dunk contest.
He never did a dunk contest.
The moment he gets in the All-Star game with Kobe slaps the floor, LeBron passes it, swings it. Like, it killed the All-Star game right there. Now, the only thing that has been good has been the three-point contest. It's because there's no...
Three-point contest has been fun. Skills contest has been fun. Dunk contest, people don't want to admit this. The last couple of years with Mac McClung and and everyone wants to jump on, oh, man, we got G League developmental players doing this. But, they're at least trying, like the dunks. Like, I say this all the time. Everyone wants to shout at the clouds until you get up with the clouds and be like, oh man, these clouds are actually real cool. Players and media pundits are like, they're also, nobody cares, until you get on said floor in Intuit Center in LA and Inglewood or wherever the Clippers stadium new arena is at. They're having this. It's all fine and good until you get there and you're like, yeah, this is kind of awesome. the weekend, the Friday and the Saturday before Sunday, right?
Yeah, and then the Sunday is the.
Here's my only thing, kind of piggybacking off of what you just mentioned with the NBA All-Star Game, because I do want to touch really quick back on the NFL. The crazy part about it is that if you go to social media and you wait around during the summertime and the offseason before all guys have to report back to camp, I know you all have seen it. How many quick clips have you seen of NBA players, shirts off? I'm talking grinding. You played in the playground,
yeah,
where you out there hooping. Don't give a you know what about anything else but playing ball. And they are competing as hard as you would think they're competing if they were in Game 6 of a playoff matchup in the summertime. They paying you on the national stage. My only thing would be, I'm a uber competitive person to a fault. I have grown in my young age, to understand when to turn it on, turn off. But it's part of my lexicon, my DNA. That's what, in my opinion, I've been blessed to kind of be able to navigate life because of that. I just find it hard to believe, Patrick. Think about this. I know you're a competitive person. I find it hard to believe. You are an NBA basketball player. Millions of dollars. The world is watching. TV cameras following your every move. It's in real. The NBA, in my opinion, is the one sport that it feels like it's a reality show because it's always on at all times, whether it's the regular season or the off season. And you're playing in these games. You are recognized as one of the best in the world. You're an all-star. You're playing on the largest stage on a Sunday. And you're not out here trying to absolutely cook. We all cool. We can be cool. But I'm trying to beat the hell out of you.
Yeah.
That's my only mentality why I don't get it. But I've said this to you. And this is kind of a transition into another sport that I truly love in prize fighting and boxing. The best boxers in the world, for the most part, outside of the Terrence Crawfords and the Alexander, the unified heavyweight champion of the world, Patrick, those two sports, the younger players who are way more talented than any of the 90s players, so let's get out of that notion. They are more bigger, stronger, faster. They're more athletic. I feel like they have an issue and are afraid of the competition because they're afraid of, if they look bad, how that makes them look as a brand and what that makes them feel like.
Yeah, that's why they go hard in the summer, because they're playing against dudes who aren't in the league, who are testing them. There's tons of clips with Trae Young where guys are mouthing at him, and then he turns it on. Like, you have to, what's the word? You got to introduce some level of, like, shame at stake in the All-Star game to get these.
It's okay to lose, guys. Like, it's okay to listen. You newsflash, everyone. You throw all these names out in the Mount Rushmore basketball players. Newsflash. I hate to tell y'all, there were players when Michael Jordan was playing in the summer that would get the best of Michael Jordan from time to time in pickup games. There just weren't cameras around. There's a lot of videos circulating around social media and whatnot that we don't get to see at public at large, that players are losing games, pickup games, getting scored on. I remember when the Redeem team, when they were practicing out in Vegas for that with Kobe and them, there was like a stanza of video. You can go look it up. Kevin Durant, they're playing half court and he's getting the ball, and Kevin Durant literally scores on like 8 of the world's best players in a row. Just in his bag. Pull-up jumper, back to the basket, turnaround jumper, face-up jumper. And they just get... So I'm just throwing all of those examples out to me because it's almost like you play hard, but you don't... But a lot of guys have gotten to this notion that I don't want to get embarrassed, potentially. When you're not even really technically getting embarrassed, bro. Guess what, y'all? They get paid too. They lace their shoes up. There's a reason why they're in the league. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
So I hope that the All-Star game is better on Sunday. I don't even know what the format is. It was so bad last year. I was just like, I watched it, and I'm going to watch it this weekend. Kind of peek my head in and out while I'm down with the mouse this weekend. But going back to the NFL, I was going to tell you, for me, the state of the league, what makes it super cool is because we're at a amazing portion of the league where we have enough household name stars, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley. I'm just naming guys where they're still at the peak of their powers, all while we got enough young, energetic infusions of talent all in there combined. So you got the old guard, got teams that have won a lot, the Chiefs of the world, the Eagles of the world, all while you have some kind of enigmatic, aspiring, rising franchises. Caleb Williams, Bears. New England, Drake May. He's getting his type of respect now. The Seahawks, albeit as dominant as they are, extremely young defense.
Yeah.
49ers, their household names, they know who they are. People know who they are for the most part. But it's a amazing state of the league because it checks all the boxes for what you would like for a North American sport. Elite talent, stars that are visible to the public that people just know walking down the street, all while your product has not suffered. And it's competitive enough that you have, in the last decade, 8 different champions for your league, meaning you can go from worst to first, reach the playoffs, or make a deep run of the playoffs or the Super Bowl all in 1 year, which makes it super cool.
And your developmental league in college football is as popular as it's ever been, and it's the second most popular sport in the country.
And all of those guys you're going to fall in love with. Your wife mentioned it with Fernando Mendoza. People are going to kind of follow where they're going to get drafted, and then more importantly, maybe potentially become fans of those teams, switch teams, or just fall in love with the team if you didn't have one and you were just a casual watcher of the NFL. So it's kind of worked hand in hand. But no, I agree with you. I think the NBA is extremely healthy. I think from a global standpoint, I would still give the nod to the NBA solely because of just the large countries in the world that are enamored with the sport, how accessible it is for residents and citizens of said countries to play said sport. I am very interested to see when we get to LA for 2028 in the Summer Games, with flag football absolutely taking over, how much, and it's a strategic plan from the NFL, how many more people continue to fall in love with the game from a grassroots level. Women's flag football is taking over from the collegiate standpoint. It is eventually, I would say in the next 36 months or so, it's going to be a Division I sanctioned sport across the entire country, your P4s. We know the high school girls are doing it from that standpoint. But then you mentioned it. The USA is going to be going up against the rest of the world. And I think people from a non-context standpoint are going to be pleasantly surprised at some of these flag football teams. But it's going to it continues just to draw interest, which I believe the NFL strategically is wanting to do because you want to try to continue to compete with the NBA and make this a global sport. You mentioned it. You said you believe next decade, 2036, there's going to be some franchises that are going to be overseas. In the NFL.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you go back to, you talk about strategy. That is the strategy behind whether you think it's right or wrong and different. That's the strategy behind going to get Bad Bunny. Because if you look at the NFL in America, they are approaching a totality. They got everybody. So the only way that they make, I believe, $500 million a week, the only way that you can make $1 billion a week is you go get all the Spanish-speaking countries. You expand out to a global fan base. You put teams everywhere. You make teams go play overseas. Because, like, particularly when it's a good NFL game, like, there is something innate about the game of football, and it could be the physical, violent aspect, nature of it. It transcends languages. Like, when you see dudes get run over, everybody's like, doesn't matter. You don't have to know anything about what's happening in the game. So this is why the NFL is positioning themselves. They are looking for global domination, and yeah, they have an ace in the hole in the 2028 Summer Games. Like,
I'm excited for that.
But we're gonna have Patrick Mahomes and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson on a global scale going up against like Japan. No offense to Japan, they're gonna absolutely slaughter them. Like, and you're gonna have the NFL stars up there, much like the Dream Team in the '90s. That's really when the NBA started to take off.
Blew up.
because you have Jordan. You're going to have these dudes getting gold medals, and they're going to an entire global fan base. So, yeah, the sky is the limit. I mean, they're already in the clouds. So I guess you got to go above, the Andromeda Galaxy, like
That's
NFL's going to space.
Man, I just the thought of what 2028 will look like and what NFL players would want to be a part of this is, man.
Can you imagine if Saquon Barkley does his reverse hurdle in the Olympics with the entire world?
The world watching. Do you realize what that move, what that play, he does something like that, or Patrick Mahomes does some sort of ridiculous throw, 70-some yards in the air trajectory? What that does for a little boy or a little girl watching an insert country here to see that and just fall in love with it.
Yeah,
that's the thing that we say this all the time. These games and things are not for us. It's for to captivate the imagination of someone else that could, as you mentioned, making you fall in love with the sport for sure. We'll touch really quick on college basketball. Patrick watched the Alabama-Auburn game last week. Obviously, we're heading into the final month of the regular season, heading into tournament time in the postseason. We'll really deep dive college basketball next week and follow the race toward postseason play and conference tournaments. Of course, the big dance in March. Your thoughts on Alabama-Auburn, that contest last week? No Charles Bediako. Judge ruled he is officially ineligible after 5 games played. His collegiate career is over. He'll try to head back to the professional level, but Alabama comes away with the win. That was their second in a row. Won their third in a row last night against Ole Miss. Looks like they're riding into form, shooting the basketball a little bit better. But any takeaways from that game? It's hard to say, right?
It's hard to say, and I mean, you're judging these teams based off, in Auburn's case, judging off the team last year, in Alabama's case, year before that, and last year's team as well. Like, they don't have the talent they've had in years past. It was still a competitive game, still fun environment. It's still college basketball, it's still fun. And of course, it doesn't really matter. The tournament is what everyone goes to. But the Bediako thing, I'm glad that it's done, over with. We can move on. It was a crazy little.
It was wild.
Couple week run.
Yeah, it was wild. So, listen, we'll get into college basketball. Arizona falls from the land of unbeaten. Only one undefeated team in the country. It's the Miami of Ohio Redhawks, and the MAC still undefeated. Amazing Duke North Carolina game last Saturday. Seth Trimble knocks down a shot at the buzzer with 0.4 of a second left there. But I think the tournament is going to be amazing, better than maybe it's been in quite some time, just with so many teams that have a chance to win it. I think SEC fans are a little spoiled relative to the historic nature and the run of last year. That's a Haley's Comet type deal, man. At one time, I think we had like 6 to 8 teams in the top 15 at one time last year. It was crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, quality teams in that league. We'll talk more about that next week as we head to the postseason for sure. Just want to let everyone know that's going to watch this later today, that'll be listening to this today, tonight, or into the weekend, President's Day weekend. Like, subscribe where podcasts are available. If you see our podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, or where podcasts are available, give us a like, give us a comment there, 5-star review. We truly appreciate that as well. We just continue to keep this train going as we head into the off season and head into the summer months and talk a little bit more basketball and everything else that comes to our brains on a daily basis. So with that, we say see you later. See you next week. For Patrick Akers, I'm Carl Prather. This is Take After Take. We'll see you back here next time. See you.